Hey, Tom here, FlipAnything USA. So on my channel, I share how I made my fortune in real estate. Starting at 19 years old, millionaire by 28, and that's been a long time ago. I've been buying and selling real estate since I was, for the last 39 years, okay? I've talked about Meet Kevin in the past, and, I disagree with him on a lot of real estate stuff. But I give credit where credit's due. And he is one heck of a YouTuber. And I don't know what all the attraction is with the stimulus check. I mean, obviously people need it, but I can't believe how long it's gone on. But we're going to talk about Meet Kevin and his stimulus videos. All right, so Meet Kevin, it's kind of fascinating to see the amount of money this young man's made on YouTube, period. I got to tell you, he shares a lot. He shares a lot. He had a video recently. I didn't get to watch the whole thing, but I watched enough to know that he made over $250,000 off a single broadcast. That's pretty amazing. And it explains why he pumps out about one video every 3 hours during the day. So I thought we'd watch a video and just take a look and see. And then which one did I have him up on? I had one open earlier, and then I went back to another one that was the wrong one because I could tell he wasn't wearing the same thing, but I swear it seemed like I was watching the same video. So we'll see. We'll just open up one. Let's see where it goes.
Hey everyone, Meet Kevin here with your late stimulus update for August 5th. Okay, things might hit the fan here shortly, and I'm not talking about food prices hitting the fan either because those are skyrocketing, and I'm also not talking about the 2 free stocks you can get with Webull when you deposit $100 or the life insurance you can sign up for in as little as 5 minutes. I'm talking about a big mess coming up, and right now, it's Wednesday evening. President Donald Trump is now bolstering his rhetoric. Any threatening executive action if Democrats and Republicans do not strike a deal by Friday. Well, as Mitch McConnell famously said, it was only Wednesday, we got 2 more full days. He said that last Wednesday, and guess what happened in the next 2 days? Nothing! Absolutely nothing got done in the next 2 days. So I'm not very optimistic about the next 2 days, especially at the rate things are going. But here's what's potentially coming down the pipe. Now, Fox Business ran this story, and look, I'm not trying to slam Fox. This is something that has a lot of reporters like.
This is not the video I was watching earlier, but let's watch it anyways.
What? That's the only reason I'm referencing this, because I think it's a little bit of a clickbaity story, but who knows? Maybe they know something we don't know. But I want to address it. Fox Business ran a report that Trump is considering executive orders to mandate all of the following: suspension of the payroll tax, an extension of the federal unemployment benefits, an eviction moratorium extension, and another round of individual stimulus checks. However, many reporters, like from the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, and other sources, are saying they haven't heard this, and that doesn't sound A, possible, or B, something that was likely said.
Actually, I'm going to tell you, I have something to say about that. Those would all be great steps. Taking away the payroll tax or alleviating people that are working would be great. One issue that's happened, and I know a lot of business owners, is that there's a lot of people that could come back to work that aren't coming back to work or that weren't coming back to work because they were making more money with this additional $600 on top of the whatever the regular payment is that they get. And, unemployment benefits and that sort of thing is there to help you when you don't have work. It's not to be an extended vacation. A lot of people take advantage of it. Fortunately, nobody I know does. But, the problem is it's living off the taxpayer. and it's terrible. It's there to help you through tough times. It's not to be used and taken advantage of, and that's what people were doing. And so I like Trump's approach on taking away the payroll tax, because at least it allows people that are working to get by with more. If you're scraping by on 20, part-time work or working 30 hours a week instead of 40, I mean, that's a substantial raise that you'll walk away with. But anyways, let's keep going.
So maybe this was a leak. Who knows? Maybe it was said. Maybe Donald Trump's sitting in the Oval Office going, "Hey, Mark, you think we can get this done?" I guess that sounded like Obama, not Trump. But anyway, you know what I mean. And there are really a few actual problems with this. First, the president doesn't have the power to spend new money, but maybe he could spend old money. We'll talk about that in just a second, so stay tuned for this. I'll explain this.
Well, see, the beauty of that is he's just reducing your taxes temporarily, and it looks like he does have the power to do that, by the way.
Second, no one knows if doing that is actually even constitutional, because you're kind of circumventing Congress. And so this is leading others to say maybe this is just Trump doing his usual tough talk, which in part is one of the reasons America elected Trump. People wanted tough talk and real talk. But we don't just want talk now, we want action. Talk is cheap, as we say in real estate. And the fact is, the real power right now is with Congress. Mark Meadows is one of the people negotiating with Democrats. It's Mark Meadows and Mnuchin on the Republican side, and it's Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer on the Democrat side. The Democrats right now, they're winning. They're creaming the other side. And Trump doesn't like...
I don't agree. Anyways, I don't want to get this too political, but, the video that I saw Kevin doing earlier, one of the things that I thought that might be appealing about Kevin on this stuff was that he seemed rather neutral. He was kind of being, he's showing some opinion here. He's showing some bias, I think, but not a terrible amount. Nothing like you'd see on some shows, either way. And so I thought, to that credit, maybe that's what he's doing. And maybe that's why it's so popular. Because, he'll get 50,000 viewers in a matter of an hour. And I don't think it's, I can't imagine everybody's just clamoring for another check. I don't get it. But maybe, we'll see. Anybody got any thoughts about this stimulus stuff? We got here. Oh, yeah, I don't know. He makes money on the Webull insurance and other stuff too. But I think what he stated the other day, he made like $250,000 just off YouTube. And I tell you what, he's got a YouTube course, I believe now, and you know what, I'm sure it's fantastic. I'm sure. He definitely knows what he's doing. You can almost observe what he's doing and understand a lot of what he's doing. But anyways, I'm gonna go back here. This is not the video we were watching before. Where is it? This thing was Wednesday stimulus, wasn't it? Maybe this is it. This is probably...
Hey everyone, me Kevin here with your late stimulus update for August 5th. Okay, things might hit the fan here shortly, and I'm not talking about food prices hitting the fan either, because those are skyrocketing, and I'm also not talking about the 2 free stocks you can get with Webull when you deposit $100, or the life insurance you can sign up for in as little as 5 minutes. I'm talking about a big mess coming up, and right now, it's Wednesday evening. President Donald Trump is now bolstering his rhetoric, and he's threatening executive action if Democrats and Republicans do not strike a deal by Friday. Well, as Mitch McConnell famously said, it was only Wednesday, we got 2 more full days. He said that last Wednesday, and guess what happened in the next 2 days? Nothing! Absolutely nothing got done in the next 2 days. So I'm not very optimistic about...
Yeah, well, Mitch McConnell doesn't really have any control. He has half the House. He runs the podium, but obviously... you got to have a certain amount of votes from both sides to do it. The thing is, every time you politicize anything, you ruin it. You absolutely ruin it. And, one of the reasons I wanted to do this is, every time I do a Meet Kevin video, I end up getting more subscribers that are interested in real estate. Obviously, not everybody that watches him cares about real estate, but there's a fair amount of people that do. And so I always benefit when I do a video on meet Kevin because of the people that come over and start watching and buy my book. My book, Wake Up and Smell the Real Estate. It's a top seller on Kindle and Amazon, and it's basically a shortcut to just doing everything, in my opinion, that is the most important. And, like I said, I started from zero and built an empire, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, and the deals kept getting bigger. And by the time I was 28, I was a millionaire. And like I said, that was 30 years ago. I was 28. And it is, so I'm thinking, look, if you got a stimulus check and you got a job, that's extra money, right? That's seed capital. That's money you can use to start building your empire, okay? Now, look, I just did a critical video earlier, talking about Chris Crone. I'm not a big fan of Chris Crone. I'm not a fan at all. I'm not a fan of Grant Cardone either, because they look toward people kind of like cows, something to milk and take money from. I don't believe in it. I don't believe in it. And it's easy to do because people are gullible, and I realize that. I say it all the time, the masses are the asses, and I don't mean that, but that everybody's an ass, but people are gullible, and people get taken advantage of because they are so easy to manipulate. And so, look, if you're going to get burned by somebody, go get burned by me. Spend $10 on a book or $20 on a book, because people go to free seminars and they are just concentrated on by the slickest salesman you can imagine. They go out of there, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 light or $20,000 light. They kind of, in fact, what they do is they go through everybody in the room, and it's like, well, who really wants to get rich, or who really wants to make money? Who's serious about making money? And then they separate these folks out by how much income they have. And then, who's got 20,000? Who can raise 20,000? Hands go up. You come over here and come on into the room. And then they bait and switch them into into investing with the group, or paying for a ridiculous amount, for a course. They lead them to believe that you're going to be able to use our pocketbook to finance your deals if you got a deal that's good enough. But of course, in the end, people sign a contract and they don't read it. They don't read it, so they don't realize that it's legal. It's legal. It may be 100% unethical and disgusting, but people do it all the time. People take advantage of people. And I'll tell you what, talking about politics, politics is the worst. I mean, politics is the absolute worst. And right now, I wouldn't want to be a cop. Can you imagine being a cop and you're having to deal with these riots, and the city council hates you, and they're taking away your right to have tear gas, taking your right away from having a billy club, so you have to go out in the streets and fend for yourself? I mean, pretty soon they're going to say, no guns. Can't go out there and protect people with guns. So it's just a screwed up mess. But but when it comes to real estate, I don't care how you feel about President Trump. I've met Trump. I love the guy. I've met him, talked to him face to face, engage with him. He listens to every word you say. He's sharp as a tack. You couldn't have a better guy fighting for you. And I know other businesses that I have, I can tell you right now, he's raised the tariffs on China. It's helped our business. It's helped the whole country. The whole country was doing great till COVID hit. And the idea to blame him for COVID is again, that's politics. That's just politics. It's silly. But let's talk about making money and what the appeal is from Kevin. Some of you guys watch him, I see. What do you, what's the attraction here? What's the attraction with all the stimulus stuff? And, I know he's talked about the real estate, and, again, I don't think Kevin is a great investor, but he's got deep pockets. He makes about $1 million a year, maybe more, maybe $2 million a year now. So he can afford to buy real estate, and he can even overpay for it. It doesn't matter. He's going to accumulate real estate. He can afford to overpay for it. And so that's why I think he isn't quite qualified to teach anybody how to invest. It's just buying real estate. And that's his experience. He was a real estate agent before he started making a ton of money on YouTube. So that's what that is. But again, I don't consider him in the same way that I would consider like a Chris Crone or a Grant Cardone. I really think those guys, I don't like the way those guys operate at all. But where Kevin, I think, is actually quite right. Yeah. Well, you know what? It's funny. Take a look at this. I mean, it's absolutely nuts. Look at Kevin's let's go out of here for a second. Look at how many stimulus videos he's done. Where do we go here? Help me out here a little bit. Let's go. Let's go to meet Kevin here. Okay. Okay, what do you do? Go by. Okay. Oh, he's got his popular uploads. Oh, just go to videos. Here we go. God dang. 750,000 subscribers. Damn. That's amazing, Kevin. Oh, and by the way, Kevin, sorry about the image. I'm not so savvy. I got a screenshot, and it wasn't the best. It wasn't the most flattering, I know. But I've actually been running my ass off, and I just rolled with it. I could have done a better picture, and I apologize. That's what I had. So let's look here. Look at this. 7 hours ago, 23 hours ago, a day ago, a day ago, a day ago, a day ago. So that's 4 in one day, and then 2 or 3 today. I mean, every day. Look at, there's 3 on 2 days ago. There's 3 days ago. And then 4. He took a break. He only did 1. It looks like 4 days ago. And again, I mean, they're all on stimulus. They're all on stimulus. So I know you guys, listen, if you guys want to take your stimulus check and turn it into some money, get my book, and you can join my mentorship. I've got people watching, and you can see, hey, Anne-Marie. Anne-Marie's actually in the mentorship program, just finished up the first set of classes. And look at this. I mean, this is crazy. That's a week. That's a week of videos of nothing but stimulus, okay? And to think that he made $250,000 on just one of those, I'm sure that's not the norm, but it's still an amazing amount of money. And now he's talking about teaching people to buy in the stock market. I don't think that that's possible. He's too young to have. Listen. You can't spend this much time making videos. I mean, his life is making videos. There's 100%. His life is making videos. You cannot take this much time out to make videos and be good at anything else at least at the point that you're doing this stuff. Anyways, that's my thought. Look at that. We still haven't ended it. How many pages do you think we got here, Chris? We haven't even gone. Okay, there's 2 months. Look at that. 2 months. This is wall-to-wall stimulus. He chases trends. You know, he chases trends. That's what he does. And so it really is something for any of you guys that are, you know, looking to be YouTubers. You can see what he does. And, you know, I always said that about Graham's stuff, and I know they're friends. You know, it's like he gets up in the news at 5 o'clock in the morning, and then he reads the news, and then he rebroadcasts it. And to his credit, both of them, because they both kind of do the same thing. But, man, he's taken this to a new level. But where were we at here? All right, so we'll go back to stimulus.
An extension of the federal unemployment benefits, an eviction moratorium extension, and another round of individual stimulus checks. However, many reporters, like from the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, and other sources, are saying they haven't heard this, and that doesn't sound possible.
Yeah, listen, you got to remember, Trump was told he was going to lose. Everybody was told he was going to lose when he ran in 2016. So if things are as accurate today that he's behind and all this other crap, then he's going to win, because that's what they said last time, right? Anyways, but let's keep watching.
Or B, something that was likely said. So maybe this was a leak. Who knows? Maybe it was said. Maybe Donald Trump's sitting in the Oval Office going, "Hey, Mark, you think we can get this done?" I guess that sounded like Obama, not Trump. But anyway, like you know what I mean. And there are really a few actual problems with this. First, the president doesn't have the power to spend new money, but maybe he could spend old money.
Skip ahead.
Their power right now is with Congress. Mark Meadows is one of the people negotiating with Democrats. It's Mark Meadows and Mnuchin on the Republican side, and it's Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer on the Democrat side. The Democrats right now, they're winning. They're creaming the other side. And Trump doesn't like that, because he's listening and he's getting reports from Mark and Mnuchin. Anyway, Mark Meadows.
Yeah, they're not creaming him. You know, this is the deal. When politics, it's whoever's willing to give away the most money. They think they can buy everybody, right? And to give you an example, a lot of people don't even know this, but the COVID patients, I know a lawyer, or a friend of mine actually, I'm not going to say, it's not firsthand info, but my friend's friend, who's a lawyer, had an emergency hernia. He had to have his hernia cut out. And he goes in there, and after being asked to take the COVID test 20 times in like 4 hours, he's like, "What's up? What are you doing? Well, I don't have COVID. I want to get this issue taken care of." And the guy says, well, let me love you. He goes, it helps the hospital. And the bottom line is the hospital would get $32,000 for testing him for COVID, and or if he tested and was positive for COVID, it could even be much more than that. So it's a ridiculous amount of money and I don't have firsthand knowledge of it, like I said, but I believe the source, $32,000 for a patient that has COVID. And you wonder why the flu's disappeared. And so many people that come in are deemed to have COVID. Think about it, $32,000. You know, hospitals are businesses. They make money. And there's big money. There's big money in it. So just something to keep in mind. So let's keep watching.
Says they still don't have a figure, and they're trying to compromise on a figure, but he says that they're currently, quote, trillions apart. Which this just makes me want to pull my hair out because, dude, Mark Meadows, like, what? How? After a week after benefits expire, are you still trillions apart when we were trillions apart on day one? Republicans wanted 1 trillion, Democrats wanted 3 trillion. There are only 2 trillion between that. So to be trillions apart, because that was his.
Yeah, Kevin, they're further apart than even that. They don't want to get it settled. They want to blame each other. I mean, each one is, the Republicans in general are more conservative. You know, they just want the minimum amount of money. They don't like debt because it's the Republicans, most conservatives are the ones that are working primarily, that pay the majority of the taxes. Working people, not just Republicans. But people that are conservative, that are taxpayers, if you try to protect their money, you don't want money going out to everywhere. And, the big fear right now with the Republicans is there's so much money. If you don't understand this, right now they got a problem with cops. Cops are saying, screw it, and they're retiring early. They're leaving in droves right now. Well, if you know what an unfunded mandate is your police. It's like your police. It's everybody that works at the city. They are, when they retire, their retirement, they keep getting paid. Somebody comes in and replaces them, but they keep getting paid indefinitely. That retirement is not saved. It's not set aside. And that's how all these cities operate. They have unfunded mandates. They can't afford to pay. They can't afford to pay them. They were too generous. They've been too generous. And they hire too many people. It's just a ridiculous amount of people. So what ends up happening is, with an unfunded mandate, every time somebody leaves, it doubles the cost of the city on that person because that person leaves. The new person they hire probably doesn't even make as much as what this guy's retirement pension is. And so it just keeps redoubling the cost. Every time somebody quits, it's like you just hired, you're still paying for 2. You hired 1, but you're still paying for 2. But that's an unfunded mandate, and that's the problem. They're trying to take money. They're trying to get more money than they need to bail out the unfunded mandates. The mistakes that the cities made over the last 10 years, they're trying to bail them out. That's where they're trying to take the money for. When I say that the Democrats are lobbying for that money, but that's what's going on. All right, let's keep watching.
Quote, you literally made 0 progress. Nancy Pelosi says there's probably light at the end of the tunnel, but we're in a long tunnel. And this is where I say, well, Nancy, at least you have a tunnel because a bunch of people are about to be homeless. And Chuck Schumer says there are still disagreements over big-ticket items. These are likely things like the length, very important, the length of the unemployment boost,
Charles.
and of course the amount. But I think the length of the unemployment boost is going to be a big factor. And of course, the big one, the elephant in the room, the state and local government funding, for which Democrats want a whole $1 trillion, essentially.
And Marie will get to that.
Let's round, okay? Keep the change kind of thing. Republicans want $0 for that. Well, there's $1 trillion right there. Anyway, the current plan that we were told, current plan is to have a deal in place by Friday and vote on it next week, which is already a week more than we expected. But even that wouldn't be so terrible. Well, now it's Wednesday. And if we don't get anything done within the next 2 days, then it's possible that we might not actually have a real plan until next week, and we might see another week of delays. This is just getting pathetic at this point. However,
yeah, people are going to have to go to work, okay? And there's plenty of people that can go to work. Anyways, let's just get away from that for a little bit. I don't want to get too political here, but yeah. Anyways, listen, you know how a politician's lying? When their lips are moving, okay? That's how it works. Both sides, in general, Democrats and Republicans, are scum. They're owned by the lobbyists, and that's just how it works. And anyways, and if you ever listen to Trump, he'll tell you, you can buy politicians so cheap. It's pathetic. And, like peanuts. It's peanuts. You get millions of dollars of income coming to your company and for donating, $1,000 to somebody that has that decision power. It's pathetic how cheap the Americans are sold out to others. It's terrible. So anyways, let's get to questions here on real estate. That's what I know. That's what I do best is real estate. And if you're interested in building an empire, creating rentals and cash flow, buying under market and flipping. I mean, look, you won't even be, if you do what I do, you'll never get a stimulus check. And guess what? You'll never need one. You'll never need one because you're going to be independently wealthy. You're not going to need it. You're going to make too much money to qualify for the help. And so those of you that got a check, let's get you there, right? Let's get you. Buy my book, number 1, start there, and start studying. Start studying on how to make money. Don't complain that, I was looking in the comments and one of Kevin's things, and the guy said, oh, the $600 is needed because the companies don't pay a living wage. Well, listen, the idea that you need a living wage, listen, your beginning jobs, nobody's expected to make a living putting burritos together at Taco Bell, putting hamburgers together. That's a job for the kids, right? That's a job for the kids. That's called unskilled labor. But that's money. That's where you start. That's where you start to get your skill, like Jamba Juice, right? And that's where Kevin started. He started at Jamba Juice. And, if you're waiting for elected officials to bring your paycheck up, you're wasting your time. It ain't never going to happen. You've got to, don't ask why, you don't make more. Ask why, think about making yourself more valuable, okay? Because I guarantee you could be in a no matter what employee you are, I guarantee you, there's people that make more than you. And the reason they make more than you is because they have more skills than you, okay? They do more than you. They work harder than you. They're recognized. They're stepping up, and that's how it goes. You don't get patted on the back. It's like a participation trophy. Everybody gets a living wage for participating. No, it doesn't work that way. You have to figure out how to make more money, okay? How to make yourself worth more, okay? And I don't like that things are is expensive. Sometimes you'll all go, God, why is everything so damn expensive? And really, even myself, it's like, I just need to make more money. I need to make more money. And then these things will not bother me as much. I made an offer today on a piece of property for $1.4 million. I made another offer on another piece of property for about $950. It was actually supposed to be $960. The agent messed up, offered $960. I made an offer on a piece of land last week for $825,000, and I'm going to land one of them. Okay, I'm going to need to land two. And guess what? The reason I'm buying this stuff is because I have two big fat checks that are sitting in a 1031. If you don't know what that is, that's profits. These are profits from sales I've made, pure cash profits that I made on real estate, not on my book, not on YouTube videos, deals that I've made. And that's what you need to learn how to do. Make deals, okay? You don't want to be dependent on anyone, make deals, make some money. And, that's what you need to tell yourself. I get off subject here. I'm sorry, I get going. I apologize. But I am sincere in wanting to help anybody here. I don't care if you are as liberal or as conservative, maybe more than I am or one way or the other. I don't care. I want you to just be independent. I want you to make money. And a lot of politicians, they want you to be dependent on them. They want you to be dependent. That's why they'll pass things that have a short fuse, like this is going to expire in 2 years, tax cuts for 2 years. They'll do things that are just for a couple years. Why? Because they want the people that give them money to come begging back for more. And a typical thing, like if one side says, hey, okay, we agree, we'll do it. The other side says, that doesn't go far enough. That way they have an excuse not to deliver the goods. Oh, it doesn't go far enough. So they keep asking for more because they don't want it to be resolved. And that goes for immigration and everything else. And Trump made a generous offer, said, hey, let's give everybody, what was it? The baby, what is it called? The dreamers. He said, let's give all the dreamers. He gave 3 times the amount of dreamers. Said, give them a pass. Let's go ahead. Let's give you citizenship. And instead of the Democrats saying, yeah, do it, okay, because Obama promised all that stuff, and he did not deliver. And a lot of Mexican folks are upset with him over that. They remember. But so Trump tries to give it to them, and the Democrats say, that doesn't go far enough. And it's just a way of saying, we want everybody to keep wanting a handout, like the stimulus check. They want everybody to keep wanting a handout. And that's how that goes. All right, so Trump's net worth has gone down about $1 billion since he has become the president. And yeah, that makes me trust him even more because I know he's not taking money from special interests. No, you're right. I believe that 100%, 100%. No, there's never, but you got to remember this. Don't look at Trump as like part of the Republican Party. Trump is a conservative, and everybody else is kind of a self-serving leech. Believe me, the Republicans pretend to support him, but they sit on their hands and do as little as possible to support the president. Because really, I can tell you right now, the Republicans and the Democrats are one party. They really are. They pretend. It's like dinner theater. You're watching a show. You're watching a play. You know, there's a bad guy and a good guy, and they pretend to hate each other, right? Well, guess what? When the lights are off and the camera's off, they're buddies because they're fleecing the audience, and that's us. So, anyhow, let's go. It's all real estate, not politics. Okay, let's see. Let's keep going here. And I apologize. I have my opinions. But I want everybody to just make money. Let's get back on. Okay, no politics, Anne-Marie. Sorry. I'll get back on track here. Yes, Keith, they're in bed together. I agree on that. All right. See, I've offended half my own audience. That's how it goes. You almost, no matter what, you offend half your audience, and I apologize. I like I said, believe me, I consider both parties the same. I don't really consider one side or the other. I just think it's theater. But back to work. What's the percentage you would have to pay if you don't close the deals? In my country, it's 30%. You get penalized for not closing the deal, and I don't understand. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what you mean on that one, Rui.
Is he asking about the 1031?
If you're talking about a 1031, I mean, if it's long-term capital gains, depending on your tax status too, but on average, it's about 25% or 15% plus what we call the Obama tax. Sorry, but that's what we call it. There's another 4% now. So, just say 19% short-term if you sell it within a year, and the penalty is, 30%, 34% if you sell within a year, 19% last time I looked if you sell after more than a year, if more than a year goes by.
Have you sold a lot of properties, Tom, within a year just because you wanted that extra cash to go do another deal? You might want to repeat the question.
Yeah, so basically, if you make a profit, if you flip a property today, let's say you make $50,000. Well, you have a tool at your disposal called a 1031, tax deferred exchange. And it lets you take that $50,000. If you don't touch it, you let the money goes into what we call an accommodator account. Somebody else is basically holding your money after the deal closes. Now you have up to 45 days to identify another piece of property in which that money will be used to fund that fund that new property that you're buying. And as long as you don't touch it, and as long as you buy the same amount, you spend the same amount of money or more, then you'll be able to defer the entire tax. If you spend half that, you're going to end up getting stuck paying the profit. You're going to pay the tax on the profit. But go to a CPA for the details on that. But that's in general how it is. And I have a video I did on 1031 exchange and how they work. You can look it up if you want more details on it. I did a pretty layman's term thing, but it is pretty simple. So all right, let's get here. Oh, sorry, I'll get closer to the mic. I'm learning. I'm assuming that's better. So Anne-Marie, let me go back to Anne-Marie. Anne-Marie, please ask your question. I'm going to go back. You had a question earlier, real estate one. I don't want to dodge your question or All right. Well, Anne-Marie, you asked the question. You'll go to the top of the list. Just found your contact page. I'm sure your budget goes further than mine. Can you get closer to your mic? Yes. What about after 2 years. Okay, Charles, I think you're thinking about your home. This is different than your home. 1031 allows you to take investment property and defer the taxes on it. When you say 2 years, I think what you're talking about is you can sell your home, have a sizable profit, and you have up to 2 years to reinvest into another home with those funds. And again, you have to spend as much or more. That's kind of how it goes. Oh, yeah, that's a good question. So Risha says, when you first got a credit card, how did you build up your credit score? So check this out. My first credit card was an American Express. That was it. It really isn't. It's kind of a credit card. So look at this. I've been a member since 84, okay? And 84, I was 22, I guess, something like that. And it's the best thing that ever happened to me. And I can tell you right now, go get yourself an American Express, and I'll tell you why. It trains you to be frugal because an American Express, it gives you credit for a month, okay? If you start at the beginning of the month, in 30 days you're going to owe that money, okay? It's a short-term loan. But what it trains you to do is to operate within your budget. You know, in other words, it's not a credit card. I mean, it's if you don't pay your bill at the end of the month, you're not going to have credit the following month. And that's the beauty of an American Express card. It's not credit. It's short-term credit. And where if you got a, if you got a regular credit card, then, you can pay the interest on it until you max it out. And then, like, what's really sad is people start out on the right track and they get a home and it starts to appreciate, say, 8%, or maybe they bought it under market, maybe they hit a home run on day one. And I have a relative that similarly, he got a great deal on something. And he got like for $40,000-$50,000. And years later, not that many years, like 5 years later. And about 5 years later, it was worth about $250. Okay, so he made $200,000. This is when California hit rock bottom for a while, like in the early 2000s, and it came back quickly. But what he kept doing was he bought a new car. He maxed out his credit cards because he was given all this credit because they could see the equity that he had in his home now. And so, unfortunately, what he did is he spent it wildly, and then he would refi his house and gut his equity. And that's what so many people do. They buy a home, 10 years goes by, 20 years goes by, and their home's almost paid for. And what do? They've created $100,000 in credit card debt, and they wipe out their equity in their home. It's sad. You shouldn't do it. You're not living within your means if you're going into debt every year with a credit card or anything else. So your credit card debt, and the beauty of an American Express card is that you'll never get in more debt than you can create in a month, okay? And it's fantastic training to be careful with your money. So I recommend getting that. I would not get a regular credit card. Okay, so Anne Marie. All right, this is good. I'm going to get to Anne Marie here. I am a little shy, and sometimes I run into a problem with not knowing what to ask. Okay, that's okay. Listen, Anne Marie, I tell this to anybody that has ever worked for me in any other company. If you don't know the answer, don't pretend, okay? Don't pretend to know. And a lot of times, and I know you're not saying that you do, but a lot of people feel the pressure to act like they understand when they don't, and that's a mistake. Don't do it. Just be yourself. I've seen you. We've done the Zoom meetings. You look very sweet and presentable, and kind, and just be kind and nice. Just be yourself, and you just say, well, you can let me. Look in my book, right? I say, let the seller make the offer, right? I better open it up so it's not so green. Let the seller make the offer. It's one of my chapters in there. And that's what you do. Just say, hey, what will you take if you want to play it shy? I mean, that's your nature. That's fine. Just say you want to buy and take an interest. Say you like the property. I like your property. What would you sell it for? I mean, it's simple. Just be kind, your normal self. And, and then say, well, I'd like to buy it, and, can you carry a note? You know, if you want them to carry a note, or will you take X? You just say, you know, you can make an offer. That's not, you know, it's not a, you know, it's not aggressive. It's assertive. You know, it's just being a little bit assertive. And there's nothing wrong with being assertive. You know, it's not being aggressive and mean and angry. You're just basically saying, hey, you know, because everybody's different, right? Everybody's different. And believe me, I'm never pushy. And believe me, I can be a beast, okay? I can be very pushy. And when I have confrontations, I am incapable of backing down. Let me put it that way. I'm not very good at that. But when it comes to making deals, I'm extremely patient because I know I'm not having, it's not a fight. It's not an argument. You know, argument's different, but it's a negotiation, and that's what you want to get good at. You want to get good at negotiating, and believe me, you know, it's like, look, I'm getting old, right? So, you know, I used to be like the young, hey, what's going on, you know, and people like youth, and people like, people like people that are interested in succeeding, right? I like people that are interested in succeeding. It's one of the reasons I do my mentorship class, and, you know, I've spent tons of time with you and everybody else because I like people that want. I like people that want to know more, that want more, and that's really how a lot of people are. You know, they're happy to help. If somebody likes you, believe me. Look, I've got over 100,000 square feet of rentals. You know, some of these are, you know, say 20,000 square foot rentals. Some are small. Some are like, you know, 1,200 square feet, 900 square feet, 2,000 square feet. But each and every one of my tenants knows me, and they stay. Sometimes they stay because of me, because I always take care of them. If there's a problem, I fix it. And making people, you know, and I can't remember who wrote this, but I know I read it. I read a lot of self-help books when I was younger. You know, personal growth. And believe me, you get it out of a book. Don't get it from a clown. And I'm not referencing Kevin when I say that. But don't you know, personal growth. You know, there's a lot of clowns out there that are using it to manipulate you to get money for other things. Listen, you can read a book. As a Man Thinketh, fantastic book. And Think and Grow Rich, fantastic book. And they've stood the test of time. Think and Grow Rich is probably pushing 80 years. And As a Man Thinketh, I think, is 220 years old. And it's a quick read, but it'll keep you focused and get you back on things. But Anne-Marie, just don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. You know, you can't win the lottery unless you buy a ticket, right? And in this case, the ticket is just talking, just going over and talking. You know, like we talked about it before. Okay. All right. You don't want to look at Kevin anymore. Well, let me see what I can do. Well, that's probably worse. But but you can see me bigger now, I think, anyways. I'm learning the studio stuff. I'm terrible. And I even tried to get a good picture of Kevin. And so, Kevin, I'm sorry. Again, that wasn't intentional. Look a little sleepy there. It's because you're making so many videos every day. Getting tired. Anyways, who else has got anything? Now, Ellie said you're having some trouble. The guy doesn't want to sell yet. Yeah, Delta, get my book, because you wouldn't ask that question. There is no bad properties. There's just bad deals, okay? And with my book, here, I'll just point to my book here. Oops, stage right or left. There we go. My book right there. You can get it on Kindle. It answers that question. There is no bad properties. There's just bad deals. You don't want to make a bad deal. And you could have, like, a trashed out looking property. You could have a junkyard. It has value to somebody. And if you buy it for less than it's worth or less than what somebody else will pay for it, you'll make a fortune getting in between what somebody has and what somebody wants. That's the secret to wealth in real estate. Okay, Ellie says, right, but I'll ask again soon. Oh, good. So, yeah, here's the thing. And listen, I know how it is. You go out and you're looking, okay? I mean, this is not for the faint of heart. You search for deals. You follow the guidelines in the book and the mentorship course that we've had. You always try. You're always moving forward. You're trying and you're trying. And just because, and then all of a sudden somebody bites on it and you feel like, oh, hey, there's some hope. I got some hope on this deal. And then you kind of forget everything else. You can't do that. You got to treat that prospect that's getting close like it didn't happen. I mean, maintain it, keep your guidebook and keep your notes, but you got to find another one, and you got to find another one, because just because somebody starts to bite and looks like it's going to happen, and then you kind of drop everything and all you do is think about that. And believe me, I almost made a video last night about 11 p.m. because I was so excited about the offers that I wrote, okay, thinking, God, I hope they get, that's what's beautiful. That's what's beautiful about real estate. 39 years, and I still get excited about a little deal. I don't care if it's buying at $10,000, making $10,000 or making $5,000. I like it. It excites me. I like to win. And it's really not so much about the money now. It's more about, do I still got it? Am I still doing it right? Am I still making things happen? I take it very personally when somebody beats me out of a deal, or if somebody's more charming than I am, or for whatever reason they may get it, or if they get there first, that happens. Like I say, I'm number two quite often, waiting for number one to slip up. But keep trying. Just keep trying.
Have you ever, you talked to the class the other day about being in a season where sometimes there's lots of deals and sometimes there's just not many? Like it's slow.
Yeah.
Does that ever, I mean, maybe not you, but for even me starting out, like sometimes it kind of kills the drive or the passion. It's like,
Yeah.
am I going to keep doing this? Am I keep knocking on doors, making calls, all that?
Right. So I got Chris over here off my right, and he helps me in the studio too. And he's also a student. He's actually, you guys know the story. Anyhow, Chris is actively looking for property. He took the mentorship. He had bought the book long before that, and he's talking about being discouraged. And I got to tell you, just don't get discouraged. Yeah. Yeah. You know what? So what Chris asked me was basically about getting discouraged. Yeah, we will get you a mic. We got a mic here. We'll get that set up. Good point. What he was getting at was, what do you do when it feels like a dry spell? Or when, you got to work harder. You just got to work harder. That's all you can do. Listen, it's sometimes I would make my phone calls, like pretty soon I had lists, hundreds of people that I'm following up and calling, okay? Hundreds. And guess when I do it? I start at 6 o'clock at night, okay? Because that's 4 o'clock East Coast when I was in California. And people are getting off work, right? People are getting off work, 6 o'clock East Coast, and so they're starting to get off work. So I'm calling people that I know are in a time frame that they're an hour or two ahead of me because they're getting off work. And guess what? Not everybody wants to hear from somebody when they get off work, okay? They're not in the best of moods sometimes. But I know, and that made it more of a challenge for me to call somebody and keep them on the phone and talk to them, make them my friend, and you want to get those skills. You really want to get those skills. Now, a good salesman can do that, okay? Now, but you're simply trying to initiate a deal to buy somebody. It's not like you're trying to sell them curtains or blinds or windows, you know what I mean? So it's different. They're not going to have the same attitude towards you that's negative as somebody that's trying to sell them, or whatever, Tupperware, or whatever they sell on the phone these days. I don't even answer my phone, so I don't even know anymore. But that's it. When the phone's not ringing and you're not getting those responses that you want, you just got to keep doing more. Because what's going to happen at some point, you're going to have more responses. You're going to have more deals than you can afford to pay for. And that's a great problem to have. That's a fantastic problem to have. Yeah, that's when you kick it in gear, and you'll assign two, and you'll get the cash from that, and then you'll close the other deal with the cash that you made from the other two. Those are the things that can happen. So let's get back to questions here. JC, Tom, I am trying to purchase a probate. Oh, that's tough right now. A probate single-family residence, rehab cash only, that has several bidders on it in SoCal. List is $165 with a value of $240,000. Well, here's the deal. When you have a probate, and that's, if you don't know what that is, it's basically the sale of property of somebody that's deceased, okay? Well, they have relatives. There's usually somebody in charge of the asset. I can't remember what is it? God, I just finished my will too. Basically, the person that's in charge, the executor, thank you. The executor, thank you. Thank you, funny buddy. Chris also beat you to it, but yeah, that's it. The executor is in charge of dispersing the assets and selling them. And the executor has a responsibility, like let's just say, one of my 4 kids is the executor. Well, their responsibility is to get as much for that property as possible, and do their due diligence to get the most. And most of them don't do it, by the way. So your problem, JC, is you have competing bids. And, I don't know the exact setting you have. I mean, are you supposed to mail in your offer? Or are you talking to somebody face to face? Because, do you have the cash? Do you have the cash? If you have the cash, I clean house sometimes because I come up and I just say, I'll give you all cash day after tomorrow or today or whatever. I knock them out. But if you don't have that, it gets tougher. Well, you might consider going to the listing agent, okay? The listing agent, because the listing agent will make more if you buy directly through the listing agent. Now, there's a handful of listing agents, not many, but there's a handful of them that almost don't even want. They're kind of shy. They're afraid to bring an offer that's low to the person they represent. So I don't necessarily. I would go to a listing agent, try to deal with the agent that represents the seller, direct, and if that doesn't seem like it's working well, then go to an agent that's in the same office. Okay, because if they're in the same office, again, it's more money in the same office. They're cutting in just one broker, not 2 brokers, and 2 agents. So. Okay. Well, JC, then you know what? You just stay as close to that agent as you can. And, they have a fiduciary obligation to the seller to get the most they can. Not everybody, not all of them, some don't do it just out of ignorance. They don't do it. And if you guys know my story about an exact situation like that. It was a Century 21 real estate agent, I believe, that didn't know crap about real estate. And the family hired her to represent them, and she sold their $5 million ranch for $160,000. 160 acres for $160,000. And the seller or the buyer that came out there, and I know who the guy is, and he retired right after that, by the way. He was only about 34 years old, and I was probably 20 years old at the time. But I heard the story. He comes in, and he overhears two farmers talking about another farmer that died. And then he overhears them talking about, yeah, they're going to have the sale Sunday. Well, they didn't advertise it. They didn't do anything right. And believe me, there's a lot of deals to be made, and I'll share one with you soon that I'm hoping to get. I'm probably not going to get it, but it falls on ignorance of the agent not doing a good job representing the sellers. And in this case, what happened was this lady didn't know anything about real estate. She gets out there. The two heirs of the estate, they didn't do their due diligence. Nobody looked in to see what values were. So it's one buyer, one agent, two kids that are relying on an agent that doesn't know anything, and this guy says, "Hey, I'll give you $1,000 an acre, $160,000," and they're from Oklahoma, where land was about $100 an acre, and they're like, "Ooh-wee, $1,000, that sounds fair," and they took it. Well, it was worth over $40,000 an acre, and that guy, that was two parcels that made up the 160 acres, and he had one sold for $2.8 million before he'd even close the deal. Because with probate, sometimes there's time. The judge has to approve the sale, and he was sweating bullets. But guess what? The judge approved the sale because he relied on the agent, and the agent, I don't know what she relied on, but it wasn't brains. And this guy is, made $5 million. In fact, he was partners with another guy. They had a construction business, and he didn't cut his partner in. He bought the property independent of his partner, and he just said, hey, man, you can have my tools in the trucks. I'm out of here. And he went to Oregon, and he bought, I think, like 10,000 acres. And then I think he even flipped that. He was at a whole new level, changed his life in a big way. I don't mind my story. Listen, I made my wealth tons of little deals. $5,000, $2,000, 1,000, 2,500, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40,000. Then it turned into hundreds of thousands of dollars of profit at a time. And now I'm at a level that, it's fun. It's great. It's what I love to do. And I like sharing with you because I know it's possible to do it starting with zero. So Dan wrote, did you have a mentor or take any courses? Okay. Let me tell you what. I was lucky enough that I had a dad that would tell me, you can do anything. He'd say, you can do anything, son. He thought I was so smart. He said, you can do anything. Now, my dad was somebody that was gullible and could be taken advantage of. But so he wasn't a good mentor in as much as, being a deal maker, that type of thing. But he was a great dad. But so no, not at home I didn't. And then outside of that, I didn't really have anybody that I didn't have what you have right now with me. I never had any. I didn't have this. Now, I read books by Albert Lowry, Dave Delgado. Oh God, a handful of others. I can't even remember their names anymore. But usually there was a lot of bullshit. To be quite honest, even the guys that wrote books back then were kind of bullshitters. And I know Dave Delgado. I've met Dave Delgado. We're not close, but he makes fantastic wine. I buy his wine, and but when I had a glass of wine at a Dave Delgado event, and this is a wine event, he's long been out of real estate. He's making a fortune on real estate that grows wine. And we were talking, and like he said, he goes, people buy the course, but he goes, it collects dust. They don't do it. They buy the course, but they don't do it. They don't do the work. And believe me, that's why I say the masses are the asses. You can. It's like the old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Well, that's kind of how it is. You can give somebody a book, you can tell somebody what to do, and they still won't do it. Now, some will, and I've always been somebody that I listen to people that are successful. I'm interested when somebody's rich, when somebody is wealthy, when somebody's done it right. I don't care what kind of business it is. And especially when I was younger, I'm all ears. I'm like, I want to hear what this guy has to say, because he's got what I want. He's wealthy. I want that. And so I listen and I observe what are they doing right. Now, I didn't have that for the real estate. And if you know my story is I was 19 years old and I found I was looking for a place to rent, and then the agent says, well, why don't you buy? And he opened my eyes up to the fact that I could buy something owner financed. Didn't matter that I had hair down to here. My eyes were bloodshot all the time from sawdust and from just allergies. And it didn't matter. I never saw the sellers face to face, and I bought a property at 19 years old, and I got 6-month escrow, gave me time to save the money, on and on. So okay. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I don't know Manny Koshman's story. I've reviewed Manny, one of his, it was a Meet Kevin one actually, which wasn't too flattering for Kevin, but I like Manny. I don't know his story, but he, and I think Manny is of limited use to people starting from zero. Okay, I mean, he talks about flipping buildings that are $23 million. That's out of my reach. I can't do that. But it's all relative. But believe me, you're talking. I started at the dirt level. Okay, so I know what I have is valuable because I started at zero, and I trade properties that are millions of dollars, but not big ones, not $23 million buildings. Okay, Tom, just closed 2 deals in my first month doing this. What's your strategy now in finding buyers? Don't want to go to the real estate agent route. Want to do it myself. Yeah. Sorry, yeah, and Anne-Marie, that was a good question, Alex. So, yeah, looking for buyers. So look, Alex, when you're going through the records, when you're going through the properties, when you're researching your neighborhoods, you're going to notice things. You're going to see things that, it's like a new world, right? It's like you're looking behind the curtain. You're going to find out that, oh man, that guy owns a lot of property around here. You're going to start identifying names of multiple owners, people that own multiple properties in your neighborhood. Guess what? Go to them. After you got the deal and it's yours, go to them and say, hey, I got a great deal on something. You know, flip it to them. Do you own it, Alex? Did you buy it outright? Or are you saying you got the deal, or did you close the deal? I'm curious about that. Because obviously you're going to assign it, but you can assign it to somebody. Oh, you bought it. Good for you. That's great. So whether you bought it, here's the beauty of buying it. If you're buying it, you're not under the gun. You're going to make more money when you buy it. You can assign it and make, maybe 20% of the profit or 30% of the profit if you're lucky. But if you buy it, now you can make 80% you can make 100% of the profit, obviously, but you can even sell it at a deal and make a lot of money quick. I usually give everybody a pretty decent deal. So even though I make a great deal when I buy it, I still make a reasonable deal to somebody else when I sell it. I'm still a little bit below market when I sell it. So that's what I would tell you to do, is approach the other multiple owners. And I wouldn't care. Listen, you can go tell agents, go call the agents that have signs in your area and just say, hey, listen, I'll give you 3%. Give them 3%. I mean, I think, or give them 2.5% or whatever, but you got to give them something. But they know buyers in the area. Now, don't be afraid to put a for sale by owner sign, right? And a key thing you always want to do, whenever I put a for sale by owner, I always write 3% co-op, right? 3% co-op. That's my way. An agent's going to pick that up right away. They're going to go, 3% co-op. That means I'm going to give an agent, I'll cooperate with agents, and I'll give them 3% if they bring me a buyer. It's a fantastic deal for me. It's a fantastic deal for them. That's all they're going to get anyways if they bring a buyer, unless they have, obviously there's no listing for them to have. So good for you, Alex, man. I'm glad to hear that. That's awesome. And how'd you make your deals? Did it have anything to do with my book or my class? Oh, that's a good question, JC. Oh, good. So you attribute it to the book. Man, that's awesome. Thanks, Alex. Well, hey, you know what? Let's interview you. I got quite a few people that have made money now, and I'm like, that's part of my reason for getting the studio better, is to start interviewing. So I'm going to show testimonials, right? I'm very critical of people that say they have, 3,000 customers and they don't have, one decent testimonial. So let's do that. Please write me, Alex, and we'll make that happen. Cool. Okay, so JC's question: do you ever waive the inspection contingency to beat out the other offers and land deals? Okay, so look, I write my real estate deals now. I text them, and I don't mean I text a contract, but I sit there and write exactly what the agent should put on the contract. And I did this last night. And she was a little bit confused, to be honest. I was like, okay, look, let me make this easy. And I went into a little more detail than I normally would. And I got a feeling she's a residential agent, and she's handling a commercial property. I don't know. But this is what I wrote. I said, okay, buyer, Tom, and or / entity, meaning one of my family entities, $10,000 deposit, purchase $950,000, down payment $391,000, including the deposit, meaning they're going to get $391, including the $10,000. So they're going to get $381 plus the 10, and because I want my 10 back. This is all deferred money. I'm going to defer from a profit of another property. Balance carried at $559,000 at 4%, amortized over 10 years, fully amortized. See, I offered 4%, fully amortized, 10 years, with the payment $5,659.60. So this is all for her to put on there. Now, the inspection, when you say inspection fees, they have there's nothing upon them. Inspection contingency. I'm sorry. I'm glad. I misquoted what you said. Yeah. I don't use, you got to have a little bit of time, right? You got to make sure that the title's clear. You should do your due diligence, making sure that, the plumbing is decent. I don't know exactly what kind of property you're talking about, but if it's a piece of land, you might want to make sure it's not in a floodplain. There's things like that. In fact, piece of land I looked at today, I was a little bit concerned. I thought, gee, wow, this is kind of low here, a lot of trees growing. And the seller said, well, it's a water thing. And I'm like, okay, I got to look into that, okay, because you don't want to buy in a floodplain. You can't build in a floodplain. But so back to the rest of my offer, I said subject to a 15-day inspection and a clear title report, okay? So I've got 15 days, and I wrote close 30 days after seller's signed agreement. And that's an important thing to do. When you send over a contract, you want to say, give them a time limit. I always I like to get it signed, right? You want to get it signed. So a lot of times I'll say, this offer is good till tomorrow, 6 p.m. if I'm pushing them to sign it, because I want it signed. Say, this offer is good till 6 p.m. tomorrow. Okay. And I'll also say, I don't say we'll close 30 days from today. I say we'll close 30 days from seller's signed contract. That way they're incentivized to get the clock started. They want to sign it so they can start the clock, get their money in 30 days. They tinker around for 2 days. Now it's going to be 32 days, right? So otherwise, if it just says I'm going to close it, on a set date, 30 days from today, they can take their sweet time looking for another better offer while they think they got me in their back pocket. So you don't want people to think that they can take you for granted that you're there, and take more time. You want to incentivize them to sign. All right, thanks, Alex. I appreciate it. Shoot me that email. I'm looking forward to talking to you, and we'll do it. And Alex, another Alex, different Alex. What do you think about a half acre with 3 lots? Sounds like small lots. A house that needs a little work with an electric post going through the middle of the property. Okay. Well, the reason I'm going to guess that the electric post is probably on a property line. In fact, I actually had a nice 3-acre property that had a telephone pole in the middle of it, but it was multiple lots, and it's actually my property. But I had it pulled just because, and I had them reroute the cable. I had to pay for a new pole. I think I spent $3,500. I had to pay to put in a new pole for them to use. And I looked at the easement that they had. They had an easement. But I said, you know what? You've gone beyond what's reasonable on this easement. And so they didn't want to fight me, but they said, okay, you pay for a pole, we'll reroute it. I said, that's a deal. And that's what we did. Let's look at this. I want to make sure okay, back to the 3 lots. So listen, Alex, it's a half acre. It's a half acre, number one. It's a half acre with a house. So I like it. I like it. Sounds good to me. I love a half acre. Half acre is a nice big lot, okay? And if you've got the ability to sell off a lot, sometimes I've had properties like that where I'll give you an example. I bought a property for $220,000 with a building on it, and I sold the vacant lot next to it for $130,000. So I got the property for $90,000, basically. And it was, it's worth $500,000. Keith, I thought you were already in my class. Oh, 2.0, yeah. Actually, I have a new class. It's the Platinum. I'm going to tell you what I didn't tell you in the Gold. And then after that, there's plutonium and uranium. So, yeah, I'm kidding. Well, maybe. Okay. Let me know if I answered your question, Alex. I think I did. If I didn't, just expand. Yeah, I knew you were. All right. Okay, so you text that stuff to the agent. Yeah. I said, here's the outline of the contract, and that was the guidelines. And in fact, I missed something. You know what I did? Because she sent me back the PDF, exactly what I told her to do, except she injected her title company, and I don't want her title company. I want the title company that I like, because my title company has closed, 50, 60 deals with me, probably in just the last 10 years. And they're familiar with all my entities. I got 15, 16 different entities, and every time you go to a new title company, they have to read through that stuff and be clear. These guys know it inside and out, and so I just said it'll go smoother, there'll be less holdups, and it's good to develop rapport with a title company, the company that you go to, do your escrows with, and they can help you too. Yeah, Alex, I don't know, 175, man, that doesn't mean anything to me. I've got a half-acre property like you're talking about. It's worth $600,000, and I've got other half acres that are worth $30,000. So you got to go look at what you need to figure it out. That's what I can't do for you. I can tell you what to do, but the number one thing is know value. You got to know value, and that means you got to know your neighborhood. You got to know what stuff sells for. And even though it's 3 lots in a house, just consider it a house with a half acre. And, depending on where that house is built, you may be able to sell off a lot. You may not. Those are kind of small. You're down to, what would that take you down to? 7,000 square feet per lot, roughly? Cool. Alex, glad. Okay. Asset trader, I bet these Q&As are better than most classes you'd pay for. Other than, yeah, I know. You know what? You make a good point. Listen, I can tell you right now, if you want, and I'm probably going to, listen, right now you can get in my class for $600. It's peanuts. It's nothing. I got the founding members. I'm kind of doing that all year, but I may just bump it up to the $1,800 because I know how valuable the information is. I know how valuable it is. But anyhow, right now it's $600. If you want to go to FlipAnything USA, get in there and sign up. If you got too crazy expectations or if I'm not going to train you unless I think you're going to do well. And I think everybody can do well. Don't get me wrong. But, I've had somebody write me and say, hey, my plan is make $1 million the first year, $5 million the second. I said, well, probably not going to happen. Okay, I don't want to disappoint you. But, but I can certainly teach you a lot. That I know. And I got a lot of students that are here now. So, yeah, the Q&As, though, back to your question, what's great about if you take my course is I do about an hour course, for 4 days, for each week, 1 hour. But then we also do stuff like we're doing right now. But we do a Zoom meeting, okay, where we can actually, I'm looking at you face to face, and we get into a lot of questions. The thing is, when you've been buying property every year for 39 years, you run into things and issues that nobody else has. And I'm sure there's people that have sold more than me. I don't know anybody. But the amount of individual deals, I've done so many, because I'm a multimillionaire, but I've done a lot of little deals. And that is the stuff that's kind of gold. Oh, sorry. I'm getting away from the mic again. But, yeah, when I see, I saw Chris going, watch me work. It's a joke. To me, it's a joke. But I don't really feel like I'm going to, let me put it this way. I can't film somebody I'm talking to. That's TV. That's bullshit, okay? I see these fix them and flip them shows, and they're a joke. They go out and they buy a property at full price, put $100,000 in it, and sell it for $100,000 more. It's pathetic. It's really not reality. The stuff that happens, like I'm talking to you right now, that's how I'm talking to people every day. When I'm talking to people, I'm just talking about their property. Do you want to sell it? I want to buy it. Let's make a deal. Let's write it up. Let's sign it. Here's the check. Let's open escrow. Let's close it quickly. I can't film that. I can tell you what happened. I can tell you what I did, but it would stink. Believe me, if there was a camera, it would smell, right? Who's going to wants to be filmed? Like, why are you filming me while we're talking a deal? Now, on the phone, I know on the phone, there's some of that I could do. I think I did do it once, but I don't know. It just seems a little weird recording people without letting them know. So, I don't know. I'll just tell you what happened. For now. Yeah. All right. Listen, I can recreate every conversation I've had. I've told you guys all, I've told you some heartbreakers, he who waits gets left at the starting gate, where I could have made $170,000 on a beach house, actually in Ventura, over in Meet Kevin's neighborhood. I blew it. That's because I didn't move fast. Somebody asked me a great question the other day. They go, what was the question? The question was basically, is there anything lesson that you've learned, or is there anything, I forget the question, but basically it was like, what is like the recurring thing that happens most, that upsets you the most? And that's losing deals, okay? That's losing deals. And the reason is not being there first. That's the most frustrating thing, is not being there first. And what I'm talking about, you go, oh, hey, look at, the blinds are tore up. I could go knock on the door. And this is for you, Anne-Marie. You stop. You go knock on the door. Immediately. Believe me, my kids, they dread me seeing a for sale sign. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see I did a little video the other day. And I said, my favorite for sale sign. And what I showed you was a ripped up, windblown for sale sign that you couldn't read. It was hanging by a string on one end, just hanging down. It looked just like a rag. And what did I do? I went over and I unfolded it, I wrote down the phone number, and then I put it right back how it was so nobody else could read it from the street, like the way I found it. That's the difference of being a winner and a loser, okay? It's going, hey, something's there. And not just driving by it, but every time I've gone by, I go, that looks pretty interesting. And then the next day I call, and they say, we're signing a deal right now. If I'd have stopped the day before, it would have been mine. And, I just lost. I think I've been telling you guys, I was crossing my fingers on this last one, but that's the exact scenario on something I saw. I didn't jump on it. I looked at it on paper, and it didn't look as good. I thought, a little disappointed. The reason it didn't look good is because the agent blew it. They didn't write down everything about the property. They didn't describe, they left out hundreds of thousands of dollars of improvements that weren't in the listing. That when I got on the property and saw them, I'm like, oh my God, this is fantastic. But now there's another guy in the play, and he's got it. I think I've lost it. And I'm going to tell you guys all about it. But
you try to, if you like something you really like, even if you lose it, you get in second place.
Yeah. No matter what, listen. If you can't be number one, you got to be number two. You got to be next in line. You got to be just breathing down the neck of the seller, saying, "Look, he's not going to close. Forget it. He's taking too much time. He's not serious. Is he going to finance? He's trying. Did he? You just got to be on top of it. Is he going to close? Is he going to make the deal? It's okay to put doubt and say, look, I'll pay you. I'm going to close. We're going to close. If I buy it, I'm not going to delay. I'm not going to ask for an extension, because people ask for extensions sometimes. And there's nothing better than when I have somebody that has the rights to buy a property in front of me, and I'm like the backup offer, and they start to ask for an extension. I say, you know what? Listen, don't take that extension. I'll close it before he's expected to close. In other words, if he's supposed to close it in a week and he's asking for 2 more weeks, I'll tell them, listen, I'll close it. Just take it away. I'll close it the same day. As soon as his contract is done, as soon as you don't extend it, I'll come in and buy it. You got to do what you got to do. Okay, Jose writes, I feel intimidated to make my first deal. Like, hey, never done this before, but I want to put your house under consignment. Well, I don't know. Jose, that's not in my book. That's a waste of time, I think. Yeah, that sounds like more like Flipman stuff. And I'm not knocking Flipman. I like Flipman personally. And he's done some stuff that, listen, I'm a tough guy, and some of the stuff he's done makes me cringe. So I don't, trying to sell a house that you don't own and walking through the living room when there's people living in it. That's not for me. But to his credit, he's done pretty well. Okay, Tom, Enrique here. Getting good workers is a key point. Contractors overcharge like crazy. Yeah, it's good to have good rapport. And I'll tell you what's great is the more work you have, the better it gets, okay? I actually don't like people to give me a bid. In the beginning, you kind of have to if you're not doing a lot of work. But my guys know. I just say, go do it. Plumber, go do it. Air conditioning guy, go do it. Now, once in a while, they'll say, hey, the condensing unit's bad, or the FAU inside, the forced air unit is bad inside. And I'll say, well, what do you think? Am I better off keeping half of it, or should we just replace the whole thing? And, anybody knows that if you screw me, you'll never do business with me again. And a lot of times when I deal with somebody brand new, that's what I tell them. I say, look, you treat me right, you'll get all my business. Always. I'll just keep calling you back. But if you take advantage of me, if I have a problem, I'm going to tell you if there's a problem. But if I feel like you've taken advantage of me, you'll never work for me again. And I have enough work that means something. And hopefully that you get there. Because, when I was a subcontractor and I did work for other people, I would tell the builder, I'd say, listen, pay me on time. I'm not going to be the cheapest, but I'll be there when I'm supposed to be there. And you'll go to the top of the list because you're one of my top customers. You give me a lot of work, and you pay me promptly. And so that's one thing I always do. I give people, if I have a plumber or electrician, they usually get all of that work that I have, unless they're too busy or I have too much work for just one person to do. Then I'll give it to, I'll have a secondary sub that I'll use. And that goes for air conditioning people too. But anyways, so what do you guys think of this chat? What do you think of what we're doing? You guys like it? You like the topic? You like where this has gone? Anyways, so look, a lot of people here, a lot of people are new here too. Look, get my book, Wake Up and Smell the Real Estate. Okay, right here. Wake Up and Smell the Real Estate. Bestseller on Amazon and Kindle. It's $10, $20 in paperback. Thanks, Ongo. Appreciate that. Look, you can make a fortune in real estate. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. I'm not trying to take hundreds of dollars from you. I'm not trying to, look, I'm just telling you, buy my book. If you can't find the wherewithal to risk $10 on a book, okay, or $20 on a paperback, I say get it on Kindle for $10, but whatever. Now, the audiobook's coming too, by the way. If you can't put the money out to do that, believe me, you just hang it up, because you're going to have to have more mental fortitude and be, real estate. If you can't spend $10-20 on a book, forget it. It ain't never going to happen. I mean, I hate to tell you, but see you grow into it or whatever. I don't know what to tell you. Oh, hey, Anne-Marie, thanks. I'm glad. I'm sorry if I offended you at all talking about politics. I'm definitely very opinionated, and believe me, that was me being harnessed. But I really appreciate you. I do. And Ellie and Rui and Keith and all y'all So you've been in Texas a while. This is funny. So when you first go to Texas and you move in, first few years, you hear people saying y'all, and it just doesn't roll off your tongue, y'all. Well, you've been here for a long time when you say all of y'all, okay? Anyways, which I just said. So, but look, anyways, man, thanks. It's been more than an hour, and I love it. I love being engaged like this. And look, take my mentorship class. If you want to take it to another level, go to my site, FlipAnythingUSA.com. No pressure. I don't want anybody to do anything you don't want to do. Get comfortable, but get the book. I'm sure Amazon will take it back if you're not happy, but I know you'll be happy. And I don't think anybody can make that kind of claim, but I'm happy to. So, again, yeah, and we'll get a microphone for Chris here, since he's here quite a bit. And, yeah, Jose, you meant assignment, not consignment. Thank you for clarifying. I appreciate that. Okay, thanks, Anne-Marie. All right. Well, hey, everybody have a great night. Get the book and don't give up. Keep digging for deals. Just keep looking. Anne-Marie, you're going to have to get past this shy stuff, right? You're going to have to get past it. What's the worst thing that can happen, right? The worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to get turned down. The best thing is the risk-reward ratio is much in your favor, okay? I saw you. Very pleasant, sweet person. The risk-reward ratio is very small. Nobody's going to, listen, you'll be awesome. Step up. you'll do great. And so anyways, that's it. And take care.